So today, we're going to be talking about Cramorant VMAX. And all you need to know about Cramorant is... Hello and welcome to another episode of Pokémath. My name is Stefan Eriksson, and today we're going to be looking at Cramorant VMAX. So hopefully, by the end of today's episode, you're going to be knowing everything you need to know about Cramorant VMAX. So in today's example, we're going to be taking a look at Cramorant VMAX together with Porygon Z. And well, let's just not hold it on any longer. Let's just go straight into it, looking at Cramorant VMAX. So for those of you who do not know what this card does, well, it lets you flip a coin for each energy attached to this Pokemon. Wait, that seemed a little familiar what this does, but so maybe if somebody remember, this looks very much like Maractus was back in, well, was that episode 8 of this show? I don't remember anymore. But compared to Maractus this time, every time you flip heads, it's 80 damage per hit, which is which is a lot more damage than Maractus 60. There's also a lot of advantages here next to the added damage output, which we're going to be talking about much later when we'll be discussing a list. So we're going to be also pairing it together with Glimwood Tangle. And specifically, when we look at the numbers part here, we're going to be looking at how much does Glimwood Tangle actually help you here? Like, what is the added value of playing down the stadium in order to achieve certain numbers? Because, well, let's face it, you're flipping a lot of coins, and you want to know what your probabilities are before you start flipping all this. That would be a good idea. Otherwise, yeah, maybe you just like flip coins way too much. You don't have to think about it. But I would like to know the numbers before I, start such an adventure with all these flip coins, right? So let's start by looking at a list. So we're going to be jumping over to PGO, and we will be right back to discuss the numbers after we, well, looked at a list. So see you right back, guys. Hey guys, and welcome back over in PGO. And in front of you, you should see the list we're going to be looking at today. So, well, the main card, as you all know, is Cramorant VMAX. We already explained what it does, so we're not going to dwell too much with it, but I want to make a few more remarks. First of all, with the rise of Urshifu VMAX, we can be less scared of Pikarom in this format here, I believe. Otherwise, we can also try and see if we can remove the weakness. But you know what? For now, we're just going to deal with it. And for the resistance, that's pretty good with Urshifu running around, which is also why we included a Mew, obviously, because you don't want your Porygon Z to be sniped off really quickly. It is all it takes is just one Zigzagoon drop and the 120 damage that they get from Urshifu, of course, if they play Zigzagoon, of course. We play a nice solid line here, 4-0-3 of Porygon Z. So, of course, we can quickly get a Porygon into play because, well, let's face it, we need to get one of them Racanis, we need to get one of them Porygon Z's and Porygons into play as soon as we possibly can. That's also why, in order to grab these things, we play Skyla now. You could play Rosa instead, but Skyla simply just can be used at any point in the game, and, well, she comes in not only one, not only two, but 3 different full arts. I unfortunately only have 1 here, so maybe I should go and try and get the other ones. And, of course, courtesy for the list on Limitless Site, we should be displaying who I borrowed this list from on the screen right now. So, of course, contrary to Maractus, sure, this is basically a stage 1, if you want to put it that way, so you need to evolve it first. But this one also comes with a super good attack to be able to search your deck for any 2 cards, and you can snipe off them the Denays without having to do anything else, which is really nice. Unless, of course, your opponent also plays a Mew, but in any case, you could do this. So I've also added this double here, or what we see with this one here, it's a very nice sweeper at the end of the day, because, of course, F30 for each prize card your opponent has taken. So this goes very well with a reset stamp to 1, for instance, and then go up and simply start seeing if you can sweep with this little sheep. And of course, with that damage reduction of 30, that is very handy. And otherwise, we got a pretty similar lineup here, or pretty solid lineup of trainers here. We got our 3 research, we got our 2 Marnies, and a couple of bosses order. Unfortunately, only space for 2 Glimwoods, but of course we should assume we got enough energies under it, because unlike Maractus, we can also use triple accelerate energy, which on its own is enough to make us attack. The problem with that energy is, well, it's one-time use only, then it's get discarded, which is also why there's only 3 in the list. we can use powerful energy to increase our base damage, which is very, very good. We also don't really need that much else because we assume we only get to attack really one Cramorant because, well, once the second one goes down, the game is done. And of course, recycle energy, very good. Every time a knockout happens or they will get removed from play in one way or another, they go straight back to your hand. Capture to increase consistency, and well, since we can dump all the special energy we want per turn with Porygon C, there's no reason why we shouldn't just play only special energy. Again, unlike the Miraxus deck where we actually need to play something that could go for grass. So we had to play Aurora, which was very annoying because it had to made us discard cards, which we didn't want to. And we also added another grass energy just to be able to get it. So no. Here, this is a lot better for all of us here. We of course play Quick Ball. We could play Level Ball, but Quick Balls enables us to grab the Dene. And we're also trying this Cricket Tune here, which is simply just Oranguru with a tiny plus. Because it draws like Oranguru when on the bench, but if it's active, you can actually draw till 4. Of course, it doesn't come without downsides. The obvious downside here being, well, it's a V. So they take off 2 prizes if they knock it out, contrary to the good old Oranguru. Rest in peace, Oranguru. And, well, that was back from Sun and Moon, right? We play a couple of switches. Otherwise, when a knockout happens, we can just promote it into the active spot and, of course, retreat with a recycle energy to get it right back. I don't think there's much more needs to be said here. Well, let's not forget Stoutland V. This is a very interesting addition because it functions so well with powerful energy. You can simply go and sneak these extra prizes by using the first attack here. It has a base damage of 40, so that's not super good. But suppose your opponent plays Jirachi, all it takes is 2 powerful energies, you do 80 and you actually one-shot Jirachis, or any other of these small basics, and you actually draw 2 prizes on them, which can make a big, big difference. So also a very nice finisher also, if something is just laying on the bench ready to be taken off with a boss's order. So I all in all think this list looks extremely fun and I can't wait to try it out. But you know what, before we get to do some gameplay, let's go back and look at the numbers for Cramorant VMAX to see, well, what are actually the probabilities behind this card. So we'll see you back in PGO in a little bit, but first, some numbers. And welcome back. I hope you liked the list. And, well, after we're done with the numbers here, we're going to be taking a look at, well, how the list actually works in, well, a couple of games. And hopefully I won't be too bad. So, but we will deal with that when we get there. First, we're going to look at some probabilities. And starting with, well, the simplest thing here. How likely are we to hit certain numbers? So let's start without Limbo Tangle. So for a moment, just imagine that card doesn't exist and we're just relying on that one flip, well, try you have, so you don't have any second goes, right? So in this case here, we'll be assuming just for the moment that we just flip 2 coins, just to explain to you the basic setup of this here, and then we can expand that to a count of 3, 4, 5, and many more energies, right? So let's just check what we can do here. So if you're flipping 2 coins only, there's essentially 4 possibilities. Either both of them are heads, that's brilliant. Either then the first are heads, second is tails. The first is tails, second is head, or both are tails, which would of course be unfortunate, but that does happen. Look at the possibilities here, or the probabilities. You have 1/4, so 25% that both of them will be tails. So 1 in 4, you'll be very unlucky in this case. Of, well, half the cases, because you have 2 times of the quarter, so you got 50% chance of hitting, well, 80 damage. That is, you flip 1 heads. It doesn't matter which order the heads come in, you're just counting the sum of these heads, right? So that will be 50%, which leaves us the last 25% to be that you are lucky in this case, right? You flip 2 heads and therefore give 160 damage as your output. Okay, we can then, of course, just generalize this, and well, too bad that this table is a little too big, but we can always fix that. But the point with this is here, if you start with the following here. Look at this here. So you have, if there's just 1 energy attached, although that is not realistic here, but just for the matter of, showing this, if you flip just 1 coin, it's 50-50. If you flip 2 coins, well, you have the example we just shown. And then we get to the 3rd row, which is for 3 energies. And that's where it becomes important here, because that is essentially what Cramorant needs to attack. And then you can see how the probability mass is distributed in this case here. So here's for 2. And now let's go straight down to 3. And you see here, you're most likely to hit either 80 or 160. That is where it becomes, well, rather interesting, I think. We can of course go down to 4 energies, and you see that the probability mass now is pushed here that you're most likely to hit 160 of each of the individual outcomes, ranging from 0 all the way up to 320. And of course, if we add another energy, you can now cap all the way up at 400. Suppose you flip every single coin heads. But of course, you're most likely to hit something like 160 to 40. That's where the mass is centered in this case. And of course, we also have for 6 energies, and this is where you're most likely to hit 240. Well, you can of course just continue this with 7, 8, 9 and energies and so forth, right? But here should the main example be well shown, so you can see this is how it actually goes. And of course, this is just an example without Glimwood Tangle, so if you don't have the stadium card in play, well, these are your probabilities. And let's take a look at something a little different here. Because actually, it's interesting, of course, to know what the probability of hitting an exact number is. But what is even more interesting is what is the probability of getting an exact number or more? In other words, you're basically asking, well, how much does it take to actually make this KO? And that's what's interesting. Because you, of course, when you start flipping, you have a certain number in mind you need to hit in order to take a potential KO. Whether that be 80, 160, 240, or so forth, right? So, of course, let's now assume we have a nice little Cramorant here. There are 3 energy attached, and, well, suppose we want to hit at least 80 damage. That is, one of these 3 coin flips should be heads. And, of course, it's the same as saying, okay, what is the probability of hitting exactly 80, exactly 160, and exactly 240? Add them all up, and we got the probability we're looking for. So, I've written up here in a little math mumbo jumbo here, but essentially it's the probability of, well, your x being equals 80 or larger, which can then just be expressed as a sum of each of these 3 probabilities. Hitting exactly 80, hitting exactly 160, or hitting exactly 240. You can then look in the table I showed in the previous slide and simply just add them together to get 87.5%. So that means the chance for you with 3 flips to at least get 1 head out of it is 87.5 without Glimwood. That's not too bad. So that is odds I would go for in a game sense. So that's fine, right? But of course, we can also just flip that around. So what I put here in the next line here is simply the other way of doing it. Simply saying, well, what is the probability of that not happening? And then 1 minus that, you get the same result. So there's 2 ways of calculating this. And you can choose what you like. And of course, we can just generalize this. So this table here next to me, of course, shows a very nice example here. So of course, we have a column here with 0. Let's just make that a little prettier. So, okay, this is better now. So now we can look at the table and see, okay, what is the probability of hitting at least, say, 80, given how many energies you have? And of course, if you look at row 3 over there, you would see that for 3 energies, that's the example we just worked through. And of course, this increases for each energy you add. So if you have 4, you go from 87.5 up to 93.75%, which is a nice increase. And of course, with 6 energies, we get quite close to 100%. Of course, I'll never exactly hit 100% because there's always a possibility of you flipping every single coin tails, which of course would be very bad for you, but it does happen. All we can say is here for each energy you attached, the more likely is to flip at least 1 heads, which makes, well, perfect sense. Now, let's add Glimwood Tangle into the mix and see how much this stadium actually improves. So again, suppose we're answering what I would say the most important of the questions here. What is the probability we hit at least X amount of damage, be 80, 160, so forth? Then we have the following strategy. So with this strategy in mind, what we essentially got to do here, if we don't hit enough damage in the first try, we just use the stadium. Simple strategy, right? So we may be 1 head short, but the strategy is, regardless of how many hits we are short in the first attempt, we go for the stadium to see if we can do it better. Because why not? That's the probability we're going for here, or that's the strategy, sorry. So how do we actually calculate this? Well, we can put together and say it's the same as saying, well, the probability of success in the first go, so we don't need the stadium, plus the probability that we failed multiplied by the probability of success in the second try, right? So you should relist this. We tried once, see what the success is. That's basically what we had before. But now we also get to add what if we failed the first try and then go for the stadium in the second try. Or rather, we just go for a second try because that's what a stadium allows us to do. So we get to add this probability on top of the probability we had before, thereby increasing our chances to hit, well, what we need. So I got a nice little table for you here. And this table here shows indeed this outcome. I have circled here, well, for two heads or for 2 energies, but of course for Cramorant it's minimum 3. But this is just to illustrate. You can just use this table and simply just plug in the numbers and simply just see how much gain there is. But well, I'm not quite done. I've actually done you guys a little favor and worked a little more with it. So just bearing with me for a moment here, we continue with the example of just 2 energies. We see here it's 93.75% now, but what was it before? Well, first, let's calculate using this idea that we had. It's the probability of success in the first try, that's 75%, and now we add, well, first, what is the probability that it failed? That's the opposite, so that's 25%, 1 minus 75, and then multiply by probability of success in the second try, which of course is again 75%. We can add all this together, and we get 93.75. And here we see our actual gain of 18.75%. That is the gain we got for actually using the stadium. So in other words, it goes from 75% up till 93.75%, which is a nice gain of just putting this stadium card into play. And of course, we can also just generalize this formula as I've done here on the slide here in the bottom row. So we can see here that the probability of, well, success in this case here can be reduced to 1 minus the probability of success squared. That's how we actually would do this formula. So that's quite nice. And now let's put it all together in tables here. So I've shown you 2 tables here first. The one on the top is, well, without the stadium. The one on the bottom is with the stadium. And now I'm going to put it in a third matrix here and show you the difference. So basically the third table you see, the third one that came in, that is the bottom right. That gives the difference between each of the cells up in the 2 other tables. So now you can see how much damage do you need to hit this number to KO, well, Eternatus to KO, well, Centiskorch VMAX to KO your Urshifu VMAX. Any of these, how much do you need to actually take these KOs? Because, well, if Cramorant can one-shot and it doesn't get one shot back, then we are onto something, right? But the question is just, well, how often does this happen? And that is what these tables can show you. So this is the effect of Glimmotangle. And now, without further ado, whoa, I almost forgot something. Thanks there, Slowpoke. Because, of course, now we can also play Powerful Energy. That is in a big contrast to when we played Miraculous earlier, because now we have Powerful Energy, which essentially just, the probabilities stay exactly the same. So all I showed here, exactly the same. The difference is now that the base damage then increases. Well, it's not actual base damage because you have to do damage. Because if you flip all tails, it'll still be 0. Powerful Energy doesn't add on to 0. It only adds on to non-zero amounts. So you can simply just change to 80 with a 100. You can then change to 160 to a 180. And just add 20. And of course, if you play 2, you add 40 and so forth. So Powerful Energy just makes this deck even better, which is quite nice. So you can actually hit some really good numbers. But now, let's just go over and try this deck out. And then once we're back, we can go over some, well, what did we actually learn? So without further ado, let's take it back to PTGO. Hey guys, and welcome back over to PTGO. And let's just see if we can win a game or 2, or maybe lose a game or 2. But in any case, take this Cramorant VMAX deck for a spin on the ladder. I don't play too many ladder games, so and you can also see my fantastic win streak of 0. So let's see how this is gonna go. Maybe I'm lucky. Maybe we win a game, just to see how this is done. But in any case, I want to flip some coins. I want to flip a lot of coins. So let's see how this is gonna go. We have, what are we starting with here? Nothing really great. In this case here, we're just gonna have fun and put Mew up front, I think, and hope we don't need it. So let's see. I would have liked to have a capture energy or something. Are we going for another Reshizzard now? I can't really do much with this hand. I need to bench this one, otherwise we just get benched. And I think I'm better off using this here. May reveal what I'm playing, but I need to improve my next turn draw, because that's going to take a while before I can do anything. Because knowing welder decks, they have welder. They're gonna play welder, they're gonna knock out our Mew. And if they do it with a Reshizzard, it has to be with a GX move, of course, but, well, they could also just play an escape rope here and GX this one, although it needs 10 more, so let's see. That's a Cramorant. Ooh, Clown Circus deck, ooh, fun. My opening hand is not very good. I'm not gonna lie, that's not very good. Could still be a welder incoming, right? There's definitely the energies to go with it. They're coming there. Let's see how this is going. I expect a welder, but no. So there was no supporter in that hand. That leaves me to question, if there was a welder, he would have played it. He could get a welder next turn and go and knock my Porygon I may play on the bench out. And I don't want to lose Rare Candy Porygon, or Porygon Seas, that would be terrible. So I could just play on that he doesn't have much. That may be my best bet here. There's already been a Dedenne drop, so that just seems the better way to go. Yeah, it seems the better way to go. Unfortunately. Unfortunately. Well, let's see. These are some terrible draws. Combine me just playing terribly. That's also a possibility. I don't remember what the rest is. And there comes more fire energies. So we know 2 of them are, at least. And here comes an Outrage. These are not very strong draws. I can tell him that much. So I can get that into play. I can get my own Cramorant into play this way. Let's do that. Am I gonna... There's no point. Let's just see what I get, right? It seems good to play this one down. Let's crazy code this one. And this one. And get ourselves another one into play. This should be okay. We're quite fine at this point here. He's gonna take a knockout, but I don't mind him cleaning up a bench space for us this way. I could have retreated and used Beak Catch, but I just don't feel good about giving up directly one to a GX attack like that. And, well, could be I continue being lucky and he has no welder, although it becomes more and more likely he gets one. Because now he keeps thinning his deck. There goes Scoop Up Net to pull out 2 energies from his deck. So, and now comes the manual charge, the knockout. And now, let's see. We're going to see if we can go big or go home. This is the turn where we can have some fun, some coin flips, because the whole point with this is to flip a lot of coins, right? So, are we lucky? I have 2 energies attached. I can go up to 5. That is 5. That is 400 damage. I need 4 hits. 4 out of 5. I can do better. So I can definitely just start dropping some cards from my hand. We can check what I have in my deck. And now comes the big question. Am I just going to go for the VMAX, or am I going to just see what I can draw with a Dedenne? Because there's 1 VMAX in my deck. I got 2 outs, including that. Only 2 outs, but I can still draw supporter. Skylar's also a direct out, so that makes it 3. I would feel more comfortable with a better hand than this, rather than just giving him a huge outrage potential. Because we need 4 out of 5. Not good enough for me to go for, so we're just going to risk it for a biscuit. So let's see. There's no point in not crazy coding on to this one. Woo. I can't triple accelerate anyway to... let's see what we got. We got the research. We're just gonna fill it up. And then we are gonna... There's no point in stamping him at this point because he haven't showed a welder yet. Let's see what we get. Do we get anything very good? No, we don't. This is absolutely terrible. Hoo. This is the worst I could ever possibly imagine. So what we can do is retreat for a big catch. We're gonna select that one. And crazy code. That one back up here. I don't expect him to play Marnie, right? So that seems like a good idea to just go big catch. Get my VMAX right there. And I have Skyline Hand already. So I can just follow that with a Marnie, right? Because I'm assuming that this one's going to be knocked out. He gets 2 prizes. He goes down to 3, and then I'm going to go all in on him not getting anything on that Clown. In general, Clown is very favorable against VMAX decks, simply because of the price trade is super good. Also why I play Clown quite a bit myself. I like the idea. Just the fact that you can trade 1 to 3 or 1 to 2. So far he's just been thinning his deck. There's double Cramorant in this list. Cramorant is a good card. Take out the Dene. If they can't take it out, you get to shoot again. That is pretty good. There goes the second Reshisard for a Chirachi. Clown doesn't seem to be the biggest part of this deck right now. It's not a straight up Clown deck. Here comes the GX move. Point is, we get to flip some coins now. I'm pretty sure about that. So let's go for some coin flipping. We're definitely going to take out this Reshisard. We're going to do whatever we can to take it out, and we're just going to go all in. Because I want to flip as many coins as possible. I don't really care about the outcome anymore. Har. Oh, and we add extra damage. If he hits us with this, we are doomed. Do I care? No. Am I playing this brain dead? Yes. Double seems a fun thing to get down. And then with Marnie. This seems like as good time as ever to Marnie. Drawing the stadium seems very good. Yep. Because replacing his Giant Hearth, that would be nice. Supposing he doesn't get anything else. Let's deck Finn a little bit. There's no point in not being completely brain dead about this. And let's... Is 8 energies enough? It's never enough. There's no point not crazy coding this one at least. And we get 60 plus damage. That means, well, with 2 hits, that's 220. We'd still need 3 hits only. You know what? This seems like the funniest thing I've done in a long time. So let's go. Okay. Are we going to flip again? No. We are going to take this knockout. And then we're going to pray that he does not have anything. But he gets to draw 3 extra cards, of course. So this already doesn't look very good. And my boss's orders in the bottom of the deck, right? So, fun. We could have saved some powerful energies for Stoutland, obviously. But I was too happy to flip some coins, right? Now, all he needs is just some welders. He hasn't played any, so the chance he gets a welder is pretty damn high. He has 5, 6 energies I've seen. So there's at least that amount remaining also. He needs welder and 7 energies. 7, or just double Cramorant shot. That's also a possibility. Here I don't understand why he did not go for a Choreo first, but he did get the welder, so can't really say much against it, right? He needs a switch card as well, but that shouldn't be too hard. I've only seen 2 nets. There's a crystal, that's old energy. That was already there. In this case here I can always take knockouts with Porygon. We haven't seen a boss yet, but also need to see a welder first. No stamp. Okay. He is going for that version. Interesting. Then a manual attachment there and 2 prizes on the Dene, and then that doesn't seem too bad now, does it? Whew. Seems like a good time to Marnie next turn if I can get the possibility. Cramorant versus Cramorant. Fun. There's the switch card. Snipe something. Let's see. There we go. Now. Interesting. Because that was one Cramorant there. If I knock out this one, I wouldn't expect more Cramorant. Let's start by removing the stadium. Thin my hand a little bit. Nope. And then we can always attach this one here. And then I want to draw a Marnie if I'm lucky, because I don't want him to sit with that huge hand. So do we get a Marnie? Of course not. Do we have a stamp? Possibly no, because that one is there. So that is pretty bad. Might as well get this one for next turn. We get to flip a lot of coins. That's what we want to do. This seems sad. I actually have to count. Is this a knockout? There was 2 hits. 80, 160. No. That is only because of powerful energy that was a knockout, because that was getting a little like disgusting. But now that was this game. He should be able to have the game now, I highly expect. Because yeah, I see 5 energies there. He needs to attach 2 there. He can play another Cramorant. He can see most of his deck. He should be able to get 7 energies. He needs 9 energies in total plus a switch card. And a welder. That's what he needs to knock out the Cramorant. But of course there's many other ways to do this. This is just one way. Brute force Cramorant. Should be possible. But hey, my objective is just to flip a lot of coins. And was that a success? I think so. Could we have played this better? Most certainly. Was it fun? Yeah. So, almost there. Let's see. Well, there's the escape rope. That changes a lot. That makes him need a lot less energy, because we have a Doubtful here. That's 240, right? So he needs only 5 energies instead of 7. I missed escape rope and I did not miss escape rope at the same time. Because escape rope opens up for these kind of KOs, and he should have it here. Certainly. Good game, sir. Might as well make it as hard for him as possible. And there comes respectfully defeated. Let's give this one more game, shall we? And see what we can pull out of the hat. Because I feel like flipping more coins. I stacked like, 13 energies on that Cramorant. We can do better. We keep our high win streak of 0. 1 was even too optimistic. Let's see. Time for our final game. We're opening well by losing the coin flip. Oh, we get to go first. So let's see. This is not terrible at all. I get to go first anyway, so interesting. Ooh, fun. Now, this is fun. Let's just bench these because they will be useful anyway. We have a capture energy. Now, let's read this carefully. Are we going to be blown off the board in the first turn? No. Which means capture, get a second Porygon in play. And I think that's it at this point. Yeah, we don't need to fin anything. We don't need to do anything right now. Objective is to just get my VMAX and a lot of energies. And now we get to learn a lot of new cards as well. Not that we haven't seen them. I opened a lot of packs from this set, but Well, once per turn, the player may draw, choose effect, discard a single strike card from their hand. Well, it doesn't look like I'm going to use this one much because as far as I'm concerned, I play no zero strike cards. That was the nastiest Marnie I could have imagined now. Because that removes 2 of my free Porygons. Ew. Ew, that was bad. There comes the nice single strike. And a lot of charging up. Well, that adds 20 more damage. I did get the VMAX. That's not the worst in the world. And if I flip 3 heads, he's knocked out. So I'm going to go all in on getting a triple instead. I could also just draw everything I need. So we're not going to attach the powerful here. I did get the triple. That's good. So we can at least attach that. Then we're able to attack. How many cards can I draw by doing this here? If I bench this, then I get to draw max on Crobat to see if I can get even more cards into play. I think 2 on Crobat would be enough because I kind of need the energy in any case. So I get to shuffle. That's also one thing. To throw this away and just to deny everything. Tough crowd, tough crowd. Yeah, I might as well. We do have enough to attack, so I might as well just go all forward here. That seems good. Let's see. Do we get everything? Nope. Do we have a terrible hand? Oh, it's not so bad, actually. Are we able to knock him out? Potentially. I could Crobat for a few more cards, but it doesn't make much sense, though. Stam him to 6 is just a terrible idea. So I have a feeling I'm going to be knocked out next turn regardless. That seems quite bad, but if I knock him out first, this is going to be great. Let's play this one. Because I do have a Crobat. I love this going all in. This is so much fun. We have some outs. No, this is not good. I played it poorly, as usual, but I can also just be lucky. Yes! Not punished. Not punished. Whew. That feeling when you're not punished for poor play. Let's see what he gets. Possibly some Houndooms. That card's nice. It charges up real good. Oh, and there we go. I will say thanks for the game. And open my little mystery box. And with this on screen, let's go back and sum up this episode. Thanks for watching so far. I'll see you right back. And welcome back, guys. I hope you enjoyed these games, because I certainly did. And, well, what did we actually learn from all this? That's what I really like to talk about now. So we actually looked at how much does Glimmertangle actually help you. We put up all the calculations here to see what is the actual effect of playing the Stadium card here. So what did we learn? It's a good card to include in your deck, so definitely why not, as you saw on the list as well. And, of course, we got an overall impression of how good is Cramorant VMAX. Yes, it's just a better version of Miraculous. So now, changing from a so-called, well, Miraculous was kind of a meme deck, I would say, but now we actually got something that is rather good. So I may just take this one for a spin in some other events as well. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. My name is Stefan Eriksson, and this was another episode of Pokémath. Hey guys, thanks again for watching today's episode. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button while you're here anyway. And well, if you have any comments for today's video, please do not hesitate to write in the comment section below. I hope you like this style of video where we look at a list, look at some gameplay, and look at the numbers behind certain aspects of the list. Well, let me know. And well, until next time.